Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Jeremy from Randolph Running Club, and we finally did it. We're on the road to Chicago, and finally had a tune-up race. So today, I'm gonna take some time and kind of give you guys a breakdown and a recap of how that half marathon went for me in the lead up to the Chicago Marathon. So this is episode 3 of the Into the Marathon series. As you can see, I got on my Chicago Bank of America Chicago Marathon tee. I'm a sucker for gear, as you can probably tell by watching this channel. So as soon as I saw that this was a shirt that I could get, I had to get it. So yeah, repping the marathon today in this video. But I guess that's not completely what we're here to talk about, right? So I'm following this Garmin Coach marathon training plan, and my goal is to go sub 4 hours. I would say that's definitely like my A goal, but any faster than that would definitely be good, and I think I'm on track, especially based on this most recent race. But this training plan kind of called for a tune-up race about a month-ish out from the marathon before I start to begin my taper. And I'm living in Oakland right now, so kind of like the best opportunity for one of these races where I didn't have to travel too far, and it was also my wife's birthday, so I wanted to go somewhere that she would like to go. Was a half marathon race in Santa Rosa in California, so just outside of Napa, wine country, absolutely beautiful area. And we went out there about a week and a half ago, and just kind of did the whole thing, did a little mini taper, ran into the race, and it was a great result. And here we go. So recapping it. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you so much for the organizers for putting on a safe race, and something that we could go out as runners and be able to be out there in the crowd. I mean, it's been such a long time. I haven't run personally a in-person race since February of 2020, so it's been like literally a year and a half. I mean, it was kind of insane being out there and just feeling that energy. So I really had to kind of hold that in to myself a little bit when I started. So without further ado, I'm gonna kind of break this down the best that I can. But let's start off mile 1 for sure. Even before mile 1, right? This is the first race where I think I stretched properly before. I usually would just do static stretches and stuff like that before previous half marathons, 5Ks, 10Ks, etc. So I went out there and did some dynamic stretching. I got in a nice, some strides here and there, for about, 15 minutes before the race started. Walk up to my corral, and any footage that you see here is gonna be from my beautiful wife, Chelsea, just holding it down. I really value you so much, Chelsea. Thank you for coming out here and supporting me through this race. But I'm in the corral, and this is one of the first times that I've actually started near where I was supposed to be. So usually, if I'm planning to run an hour and 50 marathon, I end up somehow starting with the 2.5 hour pacer or something. I don't know. I'm just really bad about kind of pushing my way through the corral. I don't know if it's just being too nice or whatever. So for once in my life, I actually started right around the hour and 50 pacer, and I was planning to follow the hour 40 guy. So I was pretty close, maybe 10 meters behind him, give or take, not that far. So mile 1, they start us off, we're walking through, and then finally start jogging once we get through that main start area. And I'm feeling pretty good. I have my playlist going. It's nothing too fast because I'm trying to stay slow-ish in the beginning of the race so I can run negative splits. And I find that the hour and 40 pacer, he's just kind of getting a little bit further. He's kind of cresting off into the distance there, and I'm thinking something seems a little off about this, So finally, the first mile kind of clicks by, and I'm feeling good, comfortably pushing, but not too hard. I definitely have some left in the tank to push later. I have another gear I can go for sure. My watch buzzes and it says 7:28 for this mile, and I started to have a little bit of panic because to run an hour and 40 marathon, I think your average pace is 7 minutes, 38 or 7:39, something like that. And this guy is dropping me, and I'm running 7:28. So I'm like, okay, well, that's not good. So panic starts to set in a little bit. Pretty sure this dude was running sub 7 in the first mile, because he legitimately disappeared. Mile 2 comes up, and this guy, the pacer's like completely gone. And at this point, I'm like, all right, gotta refocus. My race is, I don't know what that guy's doing. I might meet him up later at the end of the road, maybe not, but I gotta run my own race. So I run 7:26 for mile 2. And, you know, when I saw that click off, I was like, I can't sustain this the entire race. Like, I'm supposed to be finishing around that pace, you know, later on, or a little faster. I shouldn't be doing this now. I shouldn't be banking time, right? And that, when I say banking time, that's running too fast in the beginning, knowing that you're going to slow down, and just being like, oh, well, I ran fast in the beginning, so it's okay. It's like, no, you don't want to take that energy out and waste that. So I kind of, you know, just soaked in the like city environment. From this point, we're kind of snaking through like downtown Santa Rosa, and at the end of mile 2, we're just now starting to get into the trail by the river. You're seeing, you know, vineyards out there. There were cows walking around, just all kinds of different things. And I'm sorry that I don't have more footage of this, but I decided, because I was trying to go for my ultimate fastest time, I just shouldn't bring my camera with me. I just got to practice running with it a little bit more before I feel fully comfortable doing that on a truly fast run. But yeah, so, you know, I end up just saying I gotta lock in. I need to control, I need to conserve, which is kind of my mantra for this early stage of the race. And I ended up slotting in with 3 other guys who were running basically the pace that I felt like I needed to kind of maintain to hit this hour 40 goal. So I'm running with these 3 gentlemen. I'm really feeling that camaraderie of like kind of working together, almost like you would see real like Olympic marathoners running or whatever, you know, at one of these big races, kind of, you know, helping each other fight off the wind, and you take turns in the front, and then one guy might drop back a little bit. So I'm really feeling that energy, and it was just a really great experience, especially after running alone so long, right? So mile 3, bang that one out in 7 minutes, 39 seconds. And I'm feeling good at this point. I'm feeling great, actually. I'm gonna lump these next miles kind of together, because it was a little bit of a blur after the first 3, I would say. I'd say miles 4 through 6. You know, I'm feeling strong, I'm feeling confident. Pace is still, you know, comfortably hard. So this is the first time that I was like, okay, something's really not going completely right here with whatever this pacer's doing. I ended up seeing him walking on the side of the road after an aid station at like mile 4, I think. And I fly past him, and I'm thinking, okay, this doesn't make sense. So what's your strategy, dude? Like, you ran too fast early, and now you're walking. Don't understand, whatever. So I pass him. And one guy that I'm running with in my group ends up getting dropped by us. You know, I think he might have gone out too hot, but I'm very thankful that he was there for the first, you know, 4 or 5 miles for me, but well, for the group, really, you know. But he ends up getting dropped, so now there's just 3 of us running together. Yeah, you know, I drink some water at mile 5. That's right. That's where the aid station was, mile 5. And I'm just looking at some notes here. And I managed to kind of fold the cup so I didn't get it all on my beard and my shirt like I did at the first aid station. So this is another thing, you know, in-person races, you're gonna have to practice, you know, drinking water on the run, not out of like your own personal bottle. I think at Chicago, you're actually not allowed to bring in outside liquids and stuff. So I'm gonna be completely relying on these aid stations, and I really need to improve my technique of drinking water, because the whole plan was to really drink like 2 cups at each one of these stations. And I feel like I spilled so much on myself that it was on me, but it wasn't in me, you know what I mean? So yeah, miles 4 through 6, I run in 7:38 for mile 4, 7:36 for mile 5, and then 7:31 for mile 6. So I'm feeling really good. I'm progressively getting a little bit faster. And yeah, just feeling strong. Mentally, I think I was like, wow, I've never run this fast for this long. I actually got a notification on my watch that I had set my 10K PR during this time, which was really insane because I'm running a half marathon, so that's really not how it should be. But anywho, now we're talking about miles 7 through 8. So working with my nutritionist, and feel free to follow her on Instagram. It's at fuelbetter.runfaster. I can link her bio down here below, or link her in the description. But anywho, I'm working with my nutritionist, and the plan was to take a gel, like a Gatorade endurance gel, around 50 minutes in, and this would be right when I'm approaching mile 7, where there's an aid station. So I see the water station kind of like in the horizon, rapidly approaching it, and I say, all right, it's time to do this. I've opened gels a billion times in training, time to rip it open. So normally I use my hands, but my hands were kind of sweaty, whatever. So I put the gel in my mouth, I try to rip it, and this gel, the like paper on top or whatever, like completely comes off. I squeeze and nothing comes out. So there was still like a little bit of closure there, and just nothing was coming out. So I tried to put it in my mouth again to rip it, and I don't know if it was just because I was tired, I don't know what was going on, but that gel flew out of my mouth, and it's like coming down, and it was in slow motion, let me tell you. So I let out like an audible, oh my gosh, because in my mind I'm thinking that's the end of my race. Like, I'm gonna end up cramping, I'm gonna end up having some kind of issue later on, and it's all my fault. I made that happen. So I had just such a tough time mentally staying engaged in this race after that. I get to the aid station, I walked. This is the only time I walked. I walked for about 5 to 10 seconds in just disappointment and anguish. I drank my water in slow motion like that, just walking. And somebody passed me that I had flown by earlier in the race, and I was like, nah, I can't go out like this. So I start running again, but I definitely was beating myself up for this next mile. So mile 7, I ended up doing, I think, in 7 minutes, 49 seconds. So that was my slowest mile of the race. And yeah, at mile 8, I kind of said, all right, man, you got to get your head back in the game. You can cry about it. You can cry over the spilled milk or spilled gel, or you can get back to it and, keep pushing. So at mile 8, the pacer actually passed me in like a full sprint. And I was thinking, all right, man, like, I got to beat the pacer at least. I gotta stay in this, I can't rule myself out of the race because of this. So, I end up getting back on the horse. Mile 8 is in 7:37, which is definitely right where I want to be, sweet spot. And, I just keep on trucking along, trying to tell myself that, I can just do the best that I can from this point. So miles 9 to 10, this is the hardest part of the race for me. I don't know if it's because I missed the gel. I don't know if it's because it was just inevitable, but I actually ended up kind of catching like a stomach cramp a little bit there. And it really hurt, like every single step that I took, particularly on my right. Yeah, it was kind of on the right side of my stomach, but I would feel kind of like the sharp pain. And I usually don't trouble with this like during training runs or anything, so it felt very foreign. And every single step, because it hurt, I just kept telling myself, I'm like, it'll go away. Just what if you just take 10 more steps? What if you just take 5 more steps? What if you just run to that tree? Oh look, there's a guy in like a red shirt in the distance. Just stay where you can keep him in your eyesight. So I kind of was just trying to pep myself up and continue moving forward. So at this point, just being in that pain, I ended up getting left by the 2 guys that I had been running with. So this is the first time in the race where I'm like completely alone. And these miles were my 2 or second and third slowest miles at 7:46 and 7:44. But I felt better going into mile 10. And that was when I was like, all right, okay, I can do this. I ran through the hardest part of this race. All I have left is a 5K. I've run a 5K so many times. This is not going to be anything different. So the miles 11 through 12, really a blur. I start passing people kind of like left and right that, went out too hot or whatever, and they hit the wall at this point. And I end up, there was a couple that ran past me, a man and I don't know, a man and a woman running together. And I ended up running with them until the very end. So you'll hear more about these 2 later. But, it's just the 3 of us, and we're kind of just picking people off left and right, going through this trail. Cows on the left, water on the right, vineyard out there in the distance. And, it's like mile 11. I passed the pacer. He seems like he's kind of dragging. This is the last time I see the pacer, so I won't bring this guy up again. But he looked like he wasn't on pace to hit an hour 40 at the speed that he was currently running, unless something drastically changed, and he was running alone. So I think everybody else got the idea that this guy wasn't going to take them to an hour and 40 finish. I end up running these miles in 7:34, 7:36, so I'm going in the right direction here. I'm getting a little faster as the race ends, and mile 13, we're crossing back into the city section. I keep looking at my watch, and I'm thinking, this can't be right. Like, I know I'm gonna run this mile in like, I don't know, 7 something, roughly, maybe low 7s, and I have a mile left, but I have, like 9 minutes or whatever it was left. So I'm there trying to do the math. I'm like, wow, I think I'm actually gonna do this, break the hour 40. I just never thought that would happen. My previous best half marathon in a real official race, not like a virtual thing by myself, was an hour and like 53 minutes. So in my mind, I'm just like, oh nah, this can't be real. It took me so much energy to get to an hour and 53 from where I started at 2.5 hours that I just didn't think this was possible. So anyway, I'm rambling, but I felt like I was really doing something there. So, here I go. I'm just booking it this last mile. I tried to make a move on this couple I'd been running with, and the guy in the couple saw me, and he was kind of like, told his partner, like, come on, man, nah, we can't let him pass us. So, we're in like almost a full out sprint, it feels like at this point. There's like half a mile to go. So I'm like, all right, you know what? Let me just save it, and I'll catch you guys at the very end if I can just stay with you. So we're running like 3 wide. We get to that final straight. I can see the crowd. Crowd is going crazy. Thank you so much for all the people who were there. I mean, just absolutely electric. And I should have been quiet because I shouldn't have announced my move, but I said, time's up, let's go, let's go. So I'm like sprinting as much as I can. I'm striding out right now, and I am running next to this woman. I end up passing her, and she had a phenomenal kick. I mean, I just, I don't know. I was like screaming, grunting, everything that I could do, because I've never raced people to the very end of a race. Usually it's like, I don't know, things are a little more spread out or whatever. So it was just a really great feeling, and I'm a really competitive guy anyway, so it didn't take much for me to do this. But point of the story, the guy actually just outkicked me, probably finished like a meter in front of me. And, I look up, and it's an hour and 39 and 23 seconds. So by far my fastest marathon, big PR. Last mile was at 7:33, and the last 0.1 was at a 6:02. I don't think I have much more on the table that I could have given here. And I think that's a good feeling. So I walked out of this one, just feeling really great in general. Absolutely great race. I mean, I can't wait to get back out there. I can't wait for Chicago in October. And if you guys have had any big races come up, pretty recently or anything, or some that you're planning for, drop them down in the comments below. Let me know. I'd love to chat with you down there. And of course, if you like this video, feel free to subscribe, like the video, drop comments so we can, chat down below. But I digress. As always, stay blessed, inspire others, stay safe out there, y'all. And I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.